Who was the most misunderstood warlord in history? Was it Cao Cao, the brilliant strategist forever painted as a villain, or maybe Genghis Khan, often remembered only for conquest, not for creating a vast, stable empire? History is filled with figures whose legacies have been twisted, simplified, or just plain wrong. Today, we're diving deep into the story of one such leader, a man whose name is synonymous with brutality, yet whose reality was far more complex. This is the story of Cao Cao, the man who ended the Han Dynasty, but also laid the groundwork for a new era. When you hear the name Cao Cao, what comes to mind? For many, thanks to the famous novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, the images of a ruthless, cunning tyrant who would stop at nothing to seize power. Phrases like "I would rather betray the world than let the world betray me" have defined his character for centuries. But is that the whole picture? Was he truly the arch-villain of his time? The historical records, like the records of the Three Kingdoms, paint a very different portrait. They show us a brilliant poet, a shrewd military commander, and a surprisingly capable administrator who valued talent above all else. Let's look at the context. The late Eastern Han Dynasty was a time of chaos. The emperor was a puppet, warlords carved up the country, and the common people suffered immensely from famine, plague, and constant warfare. It was a failed state, pure and simple. In this turmoil, Cao Cao rose not just as a conqueror, but as a restorer of order. He implemented agricultural reforms, known as the Tunshan system, which settled soldiers and landless peasants onto uncultivated land. They would farm the land, giving a portion of the harvest to the government. This simple policy fed his army, stabilized the economy, and gave millions of people a way to survive. Does that sound like the work of a man who only cared about destruction? His military genius is undeniable. He won decisive battles like the Battle of Guandu against a much larger force, showcasing his tactical brilliance. But he was also a patron of the arts. Cao Cao himself was an accomplished poet, and his sons, Cao Pai and Cao Zi, were literary giants. His court became a cultural hub, attracting scholars and artists from across the land. He promoted people based on their ability, not their family background, a revolutionary idea at the time. He was creating a functional government from the ashes of a collapsed empire. So why the bad reputation? A lot of it comes down to storytelling. Romance of the Three Kingdoms, written over 1,000 years after his death, needed a compelling villain to contrast with its hero, Liu Bei. Cao Cao was the perfect candidate. The novel dramatized events, exaggerated his flaws, and created the archetypal villain we know today. But history is rarely so black and white. Cao Cao was a man of his time, a ruthless time. He made brutal choices, yes, but often in the service of a larger goal, to end the chaos and unify China. So, was Cao Cao a villain or a hero? The truth is, he was neither. He was a complex, pragmatic leader navigating an impossibly difficult era. He was a warlord who brought stability, a supposed tyrant who fostered culture, and a historical figure far more nuanced than the caricature we've been sold. The story of Cao Cao teaches us a valuable lesson: always question the popular narrative and look deeper into the history behind the legends. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories that challenge what you think you know. See you next time.